Okay, I think it's time then for me to try out painting this knight. So I'm going to actually start off just doing a test run. I think normally for something this big, order of business is frequently to airbrush it, otherwise you'll be at it all day. But this is just a test run. This is just me checking, you know, that I'm happy with the colours that I'm picking. I know a lot of kind of approaches to doing knights is to have a dull steel underneath it, but I don't feel that that's the approach I want to take. I do want a steel colour underneath it for the chassis, but I don't think I want it to be completely drained of any colour at the same time. So it's actually quite a difficult decision I'm having to make about how I'm approaching this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with some steel, grey Knight steel as a base. Now, I'm in no rush. I'm in no particular rush here, to be quite honest. So the idea is quite simple. I'm gonna undercoat it. Get some base colours down. Not going on too thick at the moment. I'm quite happily just trying to get my first base colour down on. Let it dry. I'll do this 3 times basically. I want a good solid steel, grey Knight steel. So going to be pause, dry, pause my camera again, do the next layer, dry, do the next layer. Okay, now that that's dried, it's time to put on the next layer. It's just a process that you have to go through in the end if you want to get it right. Now, as I said, if you're hand painting something, then this is the process that you're going to go through every single time. It's why ordinarily I'll be airbrushing this, but because this is a trial run, so it takes a lot of time and energy to set up my airbrush, and then when my airbrush is set up, I've obviously then got to water down all the paints and everything. The model's just not ready for that yet, but when it is, I'm just going to do the whole thing by airbrush. Okay, right, so there's layer 2 now. It's starting to look a little bit less streaky. Ooh. The magnets are drawing them in. Again, just another 5 minutes hopefully, and I can do the final layer. So let's get this final little layer on. I've decided to do this, by the way, using the Steel Legion. Why do I keep calling it Steel Legion? Grey Knight Steel. Because I actually think it's got a slight blue texture to it. Now I'm going to try and create a metallic green. Now I know a huge number of painters will say, well, you should try and make it a non-metallic metal, but a non-metallic metal is if you want to create an illusion of light points, whereas what I actually want this to do is catch the natural light and then reflect it. So I'm actually planning on doing non-metallic metal because I want it to feel real. Well, basically, I don't want to control the light source that much. It's very complicated, not metallic metal to say the least, but that's where I'm going from. So I'm going to use a true metallic metal. I'm going to put a contrast over it quite soon. And then hopefully that contrast over the top of the silver will create a metallic green. From there, I'm going to then have to shade and highlight it to get just the right kind of texture that I want, which is going to try and feel quite like very natural colouring. So just waiting for this to dry and then I can put my green over the top. Okay, now the next process for this is going to be trying to add this contrast. Now I want this contrast to go over quite nicely. I want to create quite a... I want to have a metallic green. Now what I'm trying to do though is I'm going to see if I can be clever about it, about how it goes on. See, I'm not going to do a non-metallic metal. What I am going to do is I'm going to use some of the techniques from non-metallic metals to control the light and the dark on this. Hopefully this will work out. Never tried anything like this before, so I hope it turns out well. What I need to do is I need to push a bit more darkness where it might be shadows. Hopefully you can see it's very slowly building up some green colouring. And what I'm going to have to do now is use a bit more, really wet my brush, because I want to get this to flow into the cracks. I have to admit, it's actually quite a nice effect. Whether or not it's perfectly how I want it, well, I'm not sure about that, but it is a good starting point. Difficult because obviously there's not many places to hold on to on that one, unlike this one where it's got a nice grab hold of area. Again, same process. Ooh, right off on my brush there. Starting the shadow, move downwards, trying to push it into the recesses if possible. I like this effect because it's basically just staining it. It's not completely overriding it, you know, like overloading the steel and completely losing it. Okay. Ooh, now that effect is quite nice. I'm actually finding that to be quite promising in appearance. Let me just get a bit more on that part there so it's a bit slightly more solid colour. I'm going to start thinking about the direction of the metal. See, I'm going for a green Knight overall, and I want the undercarriage to be metallic, but I don't want it to be silver because that just doesn't work for what I'm doing. So what I think I've got there is a nice green going on to kind of support the carriage, support the underside, and then what I need to start doing is I need to kind of pick my highlights just correctly now, which in itself isn't the easiest thing to do. Now, what I need is basically need to put some highlights on these and just get the right colours in there. Fortunately, my X-ray flame's gone all solid now. I've used this once before for creating a kind of a slight tinge. It takes so much work to get this to reactivate properly and mix. To do what everyone else does and get a massage gun there. I can shake all my paints, but you know. Okay. Now, this is going to be used just gently to highlight with. Okay, and hopefully what I'm doing there is I'm just lifting certain areas. I suppose the proof will be when it dries to see whether it achieved the aim that I wanted, which is just to enhance certain parts. And when I put those two next to each other, there's definitely a clear difference between them now. Oh, beautiful. You know what? I feel that has just enhanced it a little bit, just kind of created a couple of little points of reflection on it. I hope that that's what you're seeing, because, you know, obviously it's difficult. There's always a big difference between, you know, like what I see and what the camera shows. So I hope you're getting an appreciation for that. If not, oh, it's such a shame, because I think it looks nice from my point of view. I'm just using a bit of ink here, some Athenian camo shade. Just to get into the recesses now. this last light sort of shading is adding a tiny, perfect little bit of dirtiness in the right areas, because obviously this is the underside. This is your kind of it's the gubbins, it's the bits underneath. I'm real, do you know, as I've probably kind of said, you know, you can't fully see it probably from your point of view, but from where I'm looking, I'm very happy with the look of that. It's got a nice shine to it in all the right places. It's kind of what I was hoping for. So what's the next little thing I need to do? Well, I need to get this part done. Now, it's so traditional to do those in a kind of black. And I'm not a traditional person. I don't just do what I'm supposed to do. Oh gosh, that grey's wrecked. It's dried up. Storm vermin fur, that'll do. Get the storm vermin fur on it. See, I don't want this too dark. I know the
motion detected.
I've had a bit of a problem with my grey there. It's all drying up. It must be the heat in this room that's really just affecting my grey colours. And then when that's dried, I'm just going to kind of get a wash to go over it, just to keep it nice and simple. Now, now I'm just going to finish up with that part there. I just had an idea, and I'm going to see if this works. This is Leviathan Blue Contrast. I'm going to water it down a bit. I need to change my water over there. Same my wet palette. There. Just get this to flow nicely between those recesses. It's an alternative to just using black, basically. There we go. That is my approach to doing some metallic green. Hopefully that will look gorgeous on the whole undercarriage of my Knight as I go through, and then the metallic underneath will work very well against what I'm planning on the carapace, which is not going to be metallic at this stage, but I like that colour so much. I'm getting tempted. Alright, please like and subscribe. I hope you like that video of, you know, just how to do a very nice simple 4 paint metallic effect on a Knight.